All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to do another Blood Golem video here. I actually got up off my butt and looked at what exactly is going on underneath the hood for the open wound damage, its synergies, what it's like, how things work. I had a bunch of questions about Blood Golem, and I've been doing a bunch of experiments to try to figure out what exactly is going on. But unfortunately, we need to start here, and where here is a very simple question of how much, or if I have a Thorns Aura on this guy, let's just scroll over Thorns Aura here really fast. Actually, I don't have it, never mind. But Thorns Aura basically has a chance to proc open wounds, and the question becomes, is that bonus open wounds damage that the Blood Golems have also transfer over to the proc on the Thorns Aura? So the Thorns Aura that I currently have on has like a 20% chance to proc open wounds when the Blood Golem gets hit. Okay? And this current Blood Golem, I can switch over to the other over here. That's not it. Lol. That's also not it. So where's the stuff? Okay, you got the curses on for the resists. Gotta go 34, yeah. So this Blood Golem here is currently like a maxed out Blood Golem. He's got all the synergies running. His open wound damage is currently 3,730. I'll summon one really fast, and now okay, now, thanks. Just kill them both, summon one, switch over to the Thorns Aura. So what we should be seeing is when we go through here, so I'm going to go into the Durance of Hate. There's a pack of blunderbusses in here. They're going to stun the shit out of this golem. They're going to kill him pretty, kind of quickly, kind of not quickly, like somewhere around there. But if the open wounds damage is gaining this massive, 3,700 damage, blah, 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 blah. So we're clear, open wounds in hell does 300-ish damage base. So this is going to be like a 4,000-ish damage dot. I do believe we are on players 1. I could be wrong about that. We are on players 1. So we should see some kind of an effect here. I've already tested it before. So I've seen that this is in fact the case and that this is in fact going to happen. But replicating it here is kind of difficult. So let's go someplace else. Let's go over here. So he's stunned, but he should be doing like massive open wounds damage to these guys, which holy crap, he is. Look at that. Holy shit, that's terrifying. Okay, let's run away. Let's run away. Let's get rid of his ass. And the next thing we want to do is I'm going to put on a... that's the wrong item. Let's put that there. Let's put this here. Oh, right. One of these fucking items has... Yeah, attacker takes damage of 500. We need to get rid of that. So we'll put this on instead. Let's swap this out for this. So I shouldn't have any reflect damage anymore. But what I do have on this guy is a steel rune word. So this thing has a 50% chance to proc open wounds. I have no additional open wounds damage whatsoever. We just need to see what it looks like by contrast or whatever the fuck we just watched right there. Okay, here's a single blunderbuss. I'm going to attack him one time, and we'll see what the open wound damage does. Okay, I'm not on attack. That's fucking adorable. Does he have open wounds on him? He does. So that's the base open wounds damage that we're looking at right now. He's healing back to full. Drink something here. Okay, he should be back to full health. See if we can't hit him a couple times. Yeah, that's like 1 open wounds damage. So it's pretty painfully obvious. And you can watch that video. I'll probably watch it a couple of times over. But it's pretty painfully obvious that the bonus open wound damage from the Blood Golem is in fact transferring over to any kind of source of Thorns Aura that you can get your hands on. There's only like 3 sources of Thorns Aura. Let me pause the video really fast and we'll pull it up on Project Diablo 2. All right, we're back. What do we want to see here? Thorns Aura. Right. So we're really looking at the sources down here. So we got sources. Our Act 2 Mercenary can give us a Thorns Aura. An Edge Bow can give us a Thorns Aura. The problem with an Edge Bow is that I don't know how to make an Edge Bow and be able to turn it into an Iron Golem. Every bow that I've even experimented making with so far. I can't do that. So if you know, if there's any edge bow I can make that I can turn into an iron golem, let me know, but I don't think we can. You got the bramble rune word, which I think is kind of expensive. I'll click on it here really fast. We'll see how expensive this piece of crap is. Rawl Sir Eth. Man, it's not that bad. Runes are, no, it's gold that's cheap. Is it 2 golds for an For an But that's an expensive iron golem if we wanted to make that. Wearing bramble would also be opportunity costed with other things that we could potentially wear. What comes to mind is like a full Trang set. I obviously have a full Trang set on my character, which means I can apply up to 4 curses. When I'm on players 8 fortified, 4 curses is actually a really good thing. So putting on the bramble and not being able to throw on down an extra curse is kind of sus. So got some interesting opportunity cost with that one. Could turn it into an iron golem, but that's going to be incredibly expensive. Don't really like that idea. An Act 2 Mercenaries Thorns might be the way to go. I'll have to look into that. And a Silence is also probably an incredibly expensive rune word. Dal El Hell Is Tier Vex. Fuck. This is a bit cheaper. We could put this on a Act 1 Mercenary. Don't really know. Right, so what to do with it exactly, not sure, but it is a absolutely fucking terrifying DPS increase. It might be the case that our Necromancer himself might have to be running around with a Silence or a Bramble. My bad. Either an Edge or a Silence. Like, that's just once he summons the army. So yeah, how to make use of that. But let's go look over here really fast. So I've confirmed a few things before we start talking about this stuff here. Let me get my pointer. Boo, 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 boo. The first thing that I did confirm is that the summon level of your gear is actually... You can put on a bunch of plus summoning gear, summon up an army of Blood Golems, and then take off all the gear and put something else, and the level of the power of that golem will remain as is. It only switches over, as near as I can tell, when you leave the game and when you start a new game. So if you start a new game, then the minions that spawn in will have their level set to whatever current gear that you are wearing. This is to prevent shenanigans where you're using the skill reset to get yourself like an incredibly powerful iron golem, and then get a wand with like +1 iron golem, and then you respec out of your incredibly powerful iron golem, probably to prevent skill resets shenanigans like that. The other thing that I was able to confirm is that hard skill points are increasing the synergy only, just like every other synergy in the game. So +1 to all skills doesn't really do anything. Amp damage effects, of course, affect it. And then, as I just showed right here, there's a bunch of little weird things with open wounds. So, for example, open wounds last 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times, prevents monster healing, but it's 3 times per source of open wound damage. So I suspect that if we have a Thorns Aura, it will be an additional source of potentially 3 stacking open wounds. The Thorns Aura, if we go back over here really fast, that edge bow had a very low... Yeah, so percent chance of open wounds is 20% on the edge bow. Your open wounds damage, like it'll add party and open wounds damage, but it's like 20, 26. You really got to take this thing into the stratosphere and get the synergies on a paladin before it's even worth a damn. But the Blood Golem that I just summoned was doing something stupid, like a 4,000 open... He had plus 3,700 open wounds damage, and it was clearly affecting the thing. When I was hitting him with Ren, that was like a 300 damage dot, but when he was getting hit, it was clearly like something a little bit more powerful than that. Yeah, so it wasn't the base open wounds doing anything. So I suspect that not only is he adding is the Blood Golem adding its damage to a Thorns Aura, but the Thorns Aura will also be a separately tracked dot on top of their melee attack dot. So if you have a Thorns Aura available, not only can they stack their melee attack open wounds 3 times, but them getting punched in the dick has a chance of putting another a 3-stack dot on the enemy. At some point, even on at some point in your Necromancer build, even on players 8 fortified with some crazy ass maps, these Blood Golems are going to be so terrifyingly powerful that it probably wouldn't even be worth it to have a Thorns Aura going. But if you're just trying to speed run the damn thing, you might as well go for it. So that's a hidden gem of power. Do I think it's overpowered? The answer is no. Like I talked about in the previous video, we actually have the video here, visual here. Let me just open it really fast. As I talked about in the previous video, no, don't save. You get these weird things going based upon the different player skill levels, where something like these Blood Golems are they're doing so much overkill that they basically suck on players 1, and they basically suck on players 1 fortified compared to other things that you can do that'll blow up the screen. But when you're talking about like players 8 fortified, they're actually kind of Giga Chads. And I think this is just, I don't think they need a nerf, if anyone's even wondering if they should get a nerf. Let's see here. Due to opportunity costs and everything else. Okay. But let's go actually look at how the scaling works on this, as near as I can tell. So, in order to get these numbers, what I had to do is as follows. Let's pull up a calculator here. Boop. Okay, I got a calculator. So, what I basically had to do was, in order to be able to put skill points into Blood Golem, I have to put at least 1 point into Clay Golem. The problem with that is that Clay Golem will increase all the numbers that I'm getting or I'm seeing on the screen of my Blood Golem by 12%. So I had to figure out a number to multiply whatever number I'm getting to reduce, to try to get the base number. So before I put any points into the character, I gotta, let's go over here really quick, because I gotta reset these skills after this video anyways, so I can just showcase this really fast. So let me take off all the gear, make sure we don't have any plus skills whatsoever. That's not even a possibility. Okay, cool. So we're going to strip butt naked. We're going to go over here. We're going to buy like our 4th or 5th skill reset for this stupid video. Holy crap. We're going to hit the reset button. We're going to open the skill tree. We're going to go to summons. And you'll see that Blood Golem is saying that the open wounds damage is 30. But unfortunately, I have to put a point into Clay Golem in order to, activate this. And the sheer act of putting 1 point into Clay Golem is going to increase this to 33, the open wounds damage by 33. That is a 12% damage increase. We'll showcase that really quick. So if I go 30 damage, I multiply that by 1.12 for a 12% damage increase. Bada bing, bada boom, we get 33.6. Can pretty much confirm that the game is not rounding up. It just takes whole numbers as is. But I have to figure out a way to multiply this number of 33 and possibly even the 33.6 number. I got to figure out a number to multiply it by in order to get close to the base. And the number I came up with was 0.91. So if I multiply 33 by 0.91, I get very close back to whatever the hell the base is. So this is what I ended up doing over here, right? So all the numbers in the brackets are me multiplying the number that it said on the actual Blood Golem by 0.91 in order to get an approximation of the base, or get as close to the base as I can possibly get. What this showed is that it starts out at +6 damage, but by the time we're at the end, it basically, or +6 to 7, but by the time we're at the end, it's already kind of doubled. So the base damage of plus levels to Blood Golem specifically are increasing the open wounds damage at a rate of unknown, but it's definitely a significant rate. Not like overpowered or broken or anything, but considering all the other synergies at play here, it starts to get out of hand pretty quickly. The highest level I could go up to is 36. If you go up to 50, feel free to go and get those numbers. But I can only go up to 36 at current level. But this information does allow me to at least predict what it might look like in the future. However the scaling is working, it seems to be like kind of linear. Maybe it's compounding, but it's definitely not compounding fast enough to be a significant factor here. So, for example, in the first, like, 8 levels, it was like 6 to 7. Control Z. From the first 8 levels, it was like 6 to 7, and then it pumped up by like a +1 levels for like the next 8 levels. But then it starts speeding up just a little bit. So clearly, by the time I'm like have this thing fully built, it's like level 50-ish, plus all skills, or at least the summon. I think I'm gonna end up capping out with like a level 55 Blood Golem. Like we talked about before, my plan is to have like 20 points into Golem Mastery. I can just show it here really fast, I guess. My master plan is to have 20 points into Revive, 20 points into Golem Mastery, 20 points into Blood Golem. I've discovered I don't need a point in Blood Warp because I've got Trangs right now, which is kind of interesting. And then I'll eventually need like a Iron Golem, and that's kind of the bare minimum of points that I actually need on this build. I put 1 point into Iron Golem in case I actually decide I want to make an Iron Golem. Give him an aura. I'm probably going to make something out of something, right? One of them Iron Golem. Probably will have a Dominion weapon by the time, so +1 Summoning Golem by the time this is done. But then I have 40 points left over, and since we are doing players 8 fortified, we're definitely going to put 20 points into Curse Mastery. They're going to have at least 1 point into the curses just to unlock them and have them available. And you can already see that at current level is 94. I've got like 16 skill points left over. So, then the question from there is, what the hell do I do with them? Let me see here. What did I decide to do with them? I could put them here, but current synergies already is... Let's see here. We've got exactly 21 hard skill points times 12. So currently, whatever the open wounds damage of the Blood Golem is, it is being multiplied by about 250%. Do I throw the extra 20 points into one of these and increase that by, or 20-ish points into one of these, and increase that by like, 240-ish? I could, that's not even going to really double the open wounds damage. Like, I can try to calculate what that's going to look like. Do I even need revives at that point? If I'm doing the Thorns Aura route, do I even want them punching the revives? They could be punching the Blood Golems and putting on even more dots to them. So the next thing I know, I'm removing 20 points out of whatchamacallit, out of revive. Like, okay, that's weird. So it opens up a bunch of more questions about the build. But at a bare minimum, 20 points go here, 20 points go there. I can try crunching the numbers really fast here. Let's see here. So what do we anticipate Blood Golem to be? So, anticipatory. So let me try to guess. Well, first off, let's prove the math is actually correct. Like, shall we? So this Blood Golem says he's doing 640 open wound damage at level 20 with plus 21 hard skills. So if I go over here to the table and I look at our level 21 Golem, our level 20 Golem specifically, okay, he has a base damage of about 180. So we're going to pull up the calculator and we're going to throw in about 180. And we're going to multiply that by, what the hell was it? It was 252, right? So we'll do 180 times 3.5, right, for 250%. Times 3.5, and we should be it should be close to 630 open wound damage. Go back into the game, look how much it is. Oh, look, it's 640 open wound damage. That extra 40 is probably a combination of my guess is that the game was actually tracking those point blah 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 percentages, which I kind of threw under the bus. So this is just a very rough estimate of what the hell the open wounds damage is actually going to be doing. But you can see that checks out. If I put on all my gear and it shot up to 32, it would also check out. I've tried that. I'm not going to bother you guys with that right now. But if I try to think about what it's going to be, So, oh god, I guess I'd have to try to do the math on it, right? Like, because I keep having to add, I can pause the video and probably do it really fast. Ugh, alright, let me pause the video and do it really fast. Alright, we're back. Okay, so this is as near as I can tell what it's probably going to be in the future, all the way out to level 55. Basically, what I did is I started by, we're pretty close to adding plus 15 if this cycle continues. So it started with, like, 4 or 5 plus 15s, and then it went 4 or 5 plus 16s, and then 4 or 5 plus 17s, and the last two are basically like plus 18s. That's assuming that they don't really compound with each other, but that they, quote unquote, the compounding is that every few levels it goes up, like, plus 1 or some crap like that. But as you can see here, we did go from 386 to 595 theoretical. This would be like a level 55 Blood Golem. I'm assuming that, in my mind, it's like you've got plus 30 all skills, but then you also have a wand that is like plus 3 summoning skills, and then plus 3 or to Blood Golem is basically the scenario that we're looking at here. And that's what you use to summon your Blood Golems. So at 900, 600, blech, 690, ugh. I'm just going to say 700 for the sake of my fucking sanity. At 700 open wounds damage, what does that look like with the synergies? Well, if we multiply this by 3.5, which was the bare minimum, we'd get open wounds damage of 2,450. What am I currently at is the question. Is that how that works? I think I got more like right now. Am I fucking up the math? Like, if I look at Mr. Blood Golem, what the, oh. Okay, let me put on my gear and we'll see what the hell's going on here. Because I swear, I think my blood, no, I don't, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, well, let me actually gear this guy up here really quick. Do like one more. Okay, that should be fine. How much strength do you need, homie? What? Oh, okay, 106. Put points there. Shove every other point into vitality that I have. I kind of want some block value these days. Put a few points into there. Get that up, get this up to at least 800. We got 60 points remaining. Let me see if okay, put that on, put this on, get the trangs going. Okay, cool. Where the hell is trangs anyways? I think that means I'm in full trangs right now. Just keep putting the gear back together here. Stoner Jardon, curses, switch that out for a summoning trinket. Okay, so I should be in full trangs right now. Okay, check. Double checking, block rating, but I do believe if I look at the item, it should say that I have 30% increased chance of blocking. This thing, something else around here, I think increases my block chance, but I could be wrong about that. But at 32, we can probably sink all 60 of these points into here to get a block chance worth a damn. Don't really like this, but nah, I'm pretty sure I'd rather rely on having a block chance. And honestly, I could put even more points in that. Maybe I'll spend the money to fix that later, who knows. But let's look at the summoning golems to the best of my ability right now. That is definitely not the summoning golems to the best of my ability right now. Something is wrong. Oh, I guess I'm still wearing this stupid, yeah, I guess I'll keep that. And then we got to put this on here. Should be level 34 is my maximum. So what seems to be the problem? This is what seems to be the problem. Okay, switch that here, there, switch that there, put this here. Okay, cool. We should be back to snuff. What? Why? What's the problem? What is the problem? Only level 31. Why? You should be 34. I am vexated. Clearly, we are missing something. Not Trang's gear, not this. Huh. You're the wrong head, aren't you, you piece of shit? Okay. Pfft. They look identical, so it's so painful. Like, swap out. It's like, that is some funny-ass crap. Okay, so level 34 is the best that I got. It is saying that we are at 1,281 open wounds. Theoretically, we would, basically double that. 1,280 open wounds. Yeah, so literally a doubling. Kind of like what I theorized in the previous video. But it's nice to at least see the math is there. A bit more dynamically. what do I want to do now here? I want to double check to make sure that this pans out with that. So we need to find a level 34 Blood Golem. Its base is 358. Okay. So 358, and then we multiply that by about 3.5, because that's, 1 point in Clay Golem right now, 20 points in Golem Mastery. Press equals, and you can see that the 1253 popping out here is remarkably close to the 1281 that we have coming out on this end over here. So, okay, so we're anticipating about a doubling of the effective combat capability of this stupid Blood Golem, and that's before I put any points into anything else. Okay, so this is what we'll eventually be at, theoretically. But you can kind of take it higher. Remember, the base was 700. Let's get out another calculator here. Scroll them on over. Okay. No. Clear. So the base was 700. But if I did something crazy like put another 20 points into Clay Golem, or put a 20 points probably into Iron Golem. No, you'd want to put it into Clay Golem for the attack rating, more than likely. Iron Golem would increase their defense, which wouldn't synergize well with the Thorns Aura on top of it, but it would give you a Iron Golem that wouldn't die so easily as like a potentially Aura buffer. But I don't really know if that's where we want to go with all this. But anyways, if I did do that, it would add an additional times 3.4, because the no times it would add 3.4 to the it'd add 2.4 to the multiplier. So we were at a 3.5 multiplier. So we were at 700 times. We were at a 3.5 multiplier. That's going to add a 2.4 multiplier. So the multiplier is now 5.9. So we got to go back and do the 700 times 5.9. Yeah, so we would have a 4,130 damage dot with only 40 points worth of synergy. 41, yeah, 41 to be exact. You'll notice that was exactly where we were at before. Like the Golem I had at the beginning of the video, he had 20 points in all this. Like he had Fire Golem 20 points, Iron Golem 20 points, Clay Golem 20 points, Golem Mastery 20 points, Blood Golem 20 points. I literally had every fucking thing maxed that you can possibly max to synergize with Blood Golem. And then it was level 34, and that had close to, that only had, 3,700 open wounds damage. So, yeah, it looks like we're going to get close to a... I don't know what to do with the build. I'll have to think about it, to be perfectly honest with you. But those are my findings so far. Trying to get a bit more mathematically grounded with what's going on here, and to playtest some of this stuff. So the big win of the day is discovering that Thorns Aura will actually proc... Thorns Aura's open wound damage is most likely a secondary source of open wounds that can stack up to 3 times, and it most definitely is benefiting from Blood Golems plus open wound damage. That is such a massive DPS increase to Blood Golem that it's actually sending us back to the drawing board, but like in a good way, right? So that's the vexation here right now. It's like, okay, before I wanted 8 revives because revives are amazing. They're only going to synergize with my skills. What the fuck is the point of playing a summon necro if I'm not going to get 8 out of 8 revives? They're part of the fun, yada, yada, yada. But if we have Thorns Aura, I kind of want my Blood Golems to get punched in the dick as often as possible to hopefully proc even more open wounds damage. But the open wounds damage at this point is starting to look so fucking insane that you might not even want. It might be like too powerful at this point. Like, what the hell? So for example... Oh no. Okay, so for example, let's say I still have 20 skill points left to do something with on this character. Let's say I pulled out 20 skill points from Revived and said, fuck Revives, we're going all in on Blood Golems. And then I use the additional 20 skill points probably in somewhere else around here. to try to help keep them alive, because at that point they're going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage. But that's kind of the point. They're going to be taking damage, but they're also going to be reflecting damage. So everything's just going to die like super fucking quickly. Oh god. Anyways, what does the open wound damage theoretically look like at that point? Oh boy. Well, we would have 700 base, and as stated before, we'd be multiplying that by 5.9. So the open wounds damage on the melee attacks, the Blood Golems, would be close to, I'm going to say 4,100 for the sake of my fucking sanity. Easier to remember. Nice, clean number. Close to 4,000, both for the melee attack and for the Thorns reflect damage, which, let's be honest, our enemies might be dead before the Thorns reflect damage even stacks up to 3 times, but just in case it's a factor, let's just do the math. Yeah. Multiplied by, there's 5 fucking golems at this point. And then amplified damage is all, oh right, it can stack up to 3 times. So we multiply this also by 3 for the 3 stack. And then we got a times 2 for the amplified damage. So 5 golems with a even remotely decent amplified damage. 123,000 damage dot on the enemy. But the Thorns Aura could also potentially double that as well to a 250,000 damage dot on our enemies. The other cool thing about the Thorns Aura is it's technically also AoE damage if you stop and think about it. That's kind of fucked up. So at some point, at some point this is going to be so much fucking damage that what the hell is the point? Yeah, so like I said, discovering this is actually throwing us back to the drawing board on what is a good build around here or not. At a bare minimum, we're putting 20 points here, 20 points in Golem Mastery, putting 20 points in Blood Golem. We're probably using Dominion at this point pretty definitively. If we're not using Dominion, we're definitely using a weapon that gives us Thorns Aura to them. We might even be using an Act 2 Mercenary with Thorns Aura. I don't fucking know. I'll have to think about it, but that is one hell of a catch, right? That is one hell of a power increase there. Something else I wanted to see is... It says 13% minus damage reduction here. If I keep putting points into Decrepify, it goes up. But it goes up kind of slowly, because this is the other thing that it didn't mention online, right? Yeah, so if I go over here and I go back to the skills and I find curses, and then we go to Decrepify, you'll notice that Decrepify says that that's lower resist. Let's go over here. It says reduces enemies' physical damage by 10%. Resistance is reduced half effectiveness. And blah 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 blah. Curse Mastery increases, reduces attack rate basically, and increases the radius of the thing. But it doesn't tell us that the more points the more hard skills, not even the more hard skills. I think it's even the more plus skills. I can see that really fast here. Let me strip off my gear, start removing plus skills from this curse. And we'll see if it affects it. Okay, cool. What was it before? Anybody know? Okay, so it's at 15% right now. And my curses are pretty weak. Yeah, I got almost no plus skills. If I put the gear back on, is it still at the same level? Guess we'll fucking find out. The Decrepify is, yeah, it goes up to 18%. Okay, so it's scaling with plus skills, not just hard skills. Okay, that's good to know. Skill tree, info. Let's go. Okay. Right. But it doesn't tell me anywhere here that it actually increases as the skill numbers goes up. So that's interesting. So the next protocol is, obviously I want a good amplified damage with this. I'll probably respec this character and put Let's see, how much is it? Attack and cast rate reduced by 50%. That's pretty terrifying right now. But this is only level 25 with the curses, honestly. It could be much, much more. So what do? Do I put 20 points into Decrepify and I put 20 points in Amplify damage? So we'd have 20 points in Curse Mastery, 20 points in Amplify damage, 20 points in Decrepify, a bazillion plus skills, or as many plus skills I can cram onto this stupid effing thing. And then the summoning, I still got 40 points left to go into summoning, and we just put 20 points in here and here. Is that how we roll with this Necromancer? Or do I spend those 20 points elsewhere? Like, I don't know. So I'll have to think about it and end the video here in Deus Vult. But that's the other thing, of course, on my mind is, do I put the 20 points into Clay Golem, increase the attack rating, doesn't increase their defense, which is awesome, get another 240% synergy going, but then I still have 20 points left over, so what do I do with that? Do I throw them into amp damage? Probably. Do I completely ignore revives? It's kind of looking like it at this point. Are they going to survive well enough with these curses? Do I go Dominion for +1 Blood Golem, or do I go a weapon for Thorns Aura? I can't really do I go Bramble for the Thorns Aura, but then I lose a curse on the full Trang set. Don't fucking know. And if they're struggling to survive with Amplify damage, like, let me look at Amplify damage. I think it starts to cap out at some point here. That this might be a very simple answer. Where amp damage at? Where amp damage at? Okay. Amp damage starts to cap out at +50 skills. So it actually looks like I'm still going to get more and more benefit out of it, even, yeah, so it's not like, it's, I was wondering, well, maybe it'll cap out and there's no point in me putting in +20 points anymore. Doesn't look like that's the case. Okay, so we're still at the drawing board. How fascinating. Huh. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is, without the revives, if they're having trouble surviving, it might be in my best interest to put 20 points into Decrepify. This is going to cause me to look at Decrepify. Does Decrepify hit a brick wall with how many points we put into her? Where are you at, Decrepify? Decrepify, where are you? Minus enemy's attack speed. It hits a brick wall at level 50 as well. So it might be the case that if I have a spare 20 points to go somewhere, so let's say I have, because it's currently looking, okay, so let's say I give up on the revives. Actually, let me pause the video and we'll go to a skill calculator here really fast. All right, sweet. We should have a skill calculator up and running. Let's, vanilla, fuck off. Project Diablo 2, thank you very much. Necromancer, yes, sir. We will add a whopping +30 skills. We will make sure the character has completed all the quests. I'm not even going to put a point in that stupid thing. We're going to put 20 points here, 20 points here, 20 points in Mastery, 20 points in Blood Golem. Trangs. Put 1 point in Blood Warp for shits and giggles, just to make it a lot faster. Put 1 point in Iron Golem. Wait a minute. Maybe I didn't 20 these out. Okay. Yeah, okay, now we 20 them out. No, now we're level 70. 1 point here, 1 point there, 1 point there. Theoretically, I'm pretty sure I have close to like 40 points left over. We can see that really fast. So I'll put 20 points into lower resist, and we're at level 95. Oh, it's because I put 20 points into Clay Golem, because I thought that would be a good idea. Okay. Put 1 point over here. All right, so we have basically 40 skill points and wondering what the fuck to do with them. Option 1, of course, is, solid. Go with revives, and then either put an additional 20 points into the Clay Golem or put 20 points into Amplify damage or Decrepify. Yeah, the Decrepify is trying to say like how it works in the Project Diablo 2 website, but clearly in-game it doesn't work that way, right? It's like, oh, it caps at like -10 resistances. Clearly that's not happening. Because if I put 20 points in here, it's still at minus 10% resist, but that's clearly not the experience we're having in-game. So however the hell that's working out. Curses, let's just double check. Yeah, we're at minus 18% physical damage reduction even at current skill level. So that is not surviving contact with the enemy, and is another skill I might have to look into how exactly she's operating. But let's say I Clay Golem. Clay Golem gives me attack rating. Clay Golem gives me base damage increase. That's it. Don't really want to increase their melee defense because I kind of like them getting punched in the dick. Their melee defense is, I don't know. So I could put them into Clay Golem and increase their attack rating. Attack rating currently is 1330. If I put 20 points there, attack rating shoots up to 1700. You know, could be useful. Hard to say. We could easily, if we're going the Iron Golem route, we could put the 20 points in the Iron Golem. That way we have like a really thick, sexy Iron Golem that's never going to die. But let's be honest, if your Iron Golem's going to die, it's probably because you as the Necromancer died, not the other way around. Could do that, but the defense rating shoots up quite a bit. We want to strip all these points out, put 1 point there. Probably I want to put 20 points into Clay Golem eventually. Just because of the massive increase. Right. Yeah. Okay, I still got the calculators up. How nice. I guess I got one of them. And then I'll pull up the other calculator. 700 times... was it 6.9? No, it's 5.9. 5.9, okay. So... the difference in these 20 skills here for our open wound damage is without them we're at 2,450, and with them we're at 4,300. If I divide that by 2,450 equals... okay, fuck off. Why did that screw it up? Oh, because it's got to be the other way around. Okay, so divide this by 4,100. According to this, it's like a 51% increase in damage. It was 700 times 3.5, which is where we're currently at. If I'm a 40% increase, huh? So it would be like times 1 point... I want times at 1.6 and see what we come up with. Okay, so 2,450 times 1.7. Okay. All right, so it's close to a 70% increase in the Golem's damage output. So these 20 skill points are increasing the melee damage and the open wounds damage on this guy by a whopping 70%. That's worth considering for a 20-point investment. However, we could have just as easily gone with the lower number and then put 20 points over here. Well, I guess it's capping out. But this is all skills. We could just as easily put 10 points over here to increase, go from 50% to 60%. And then, of course, we could put the other 20 skills over here to Decrepify to try to get it out. Or maybe I put 10 points into Decrepify. And then I still have the 20 points left over into Golem. And I'm still only level 93. Which probably means I could put an additional 5 points into amplified damage. This might be the best way to go. Maybe I don't put it in amplified damage. I put it into Decrepify. The idea behind wanting to put points into Decrepify is that we do gain physical damage reduction out of putting points in Decrepify. We can clearly see that. But more importantly, it's to make Decrepify just a better reducer of enemy melee attack speed. But that doesn't synergize well with Thorns Aura, does it? The whole purpose of the Decrepify is to help keep these guys alive because they're going to take a lot of heat because we don't have any revives. We want them to get punched in the dick because the Thorns Aura will also proc open wounds, which is really, really good. Fuck, man. I guess we got, but our weakened spell's already maxed out. So I don't want them to attack slower. This doesn't reduce damage. It only causes them to attack slower. Okay. All right, so that's actually kind of a good thing if you think about it. So with full Trangs, I can put amplify damage, life tap, weaken, and decrepify. If I give up the full Trangs for Bramble on the chest piece, one of these curses has to go away. But if we're doing a Thorns build, it's going to be pretty easy which fucking curse is going to go away. We're going to get rid of the Decrepify. We're getting rid of the Decrepify so that they beat the shit out of us. At that point, we're pretty much surviving off of Weaken. Weaken's lowering the target's damage by 50%. That's kind of what we're living off of. We could still have like 1 point in Decrepify and slow the enemy attackers way down, but that might actually cause them to, you know, not die as fast, which is bad. The next thing so the 3 curses we'd be using would be Life Tap, Weaken, and Amplify Damage. This means we still, I do believe, have like a bunch of skill points left over. I could be wrong about that. I can try maxing out Amplify Damage. And then I got to put some points into Blood Golem. How many do we have left? It looked like I have none left. So where'd all the skill points get off to? Yeah, 1, 1, 1, 1. There's 20 points here. There's 20 points there. So we got 40 points in the curse tree. And then we have 60 points over here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that might be the way to go. It makes a lot of sense if you stop and think about it at the higher ends of the skill levels, especially with the gearing. So we'd use a Dominion wand. We would use Bramble chess piece. We're not going to be using Decrepify as our 3rd curse. We're going to be using our 20-pointed... Wait a minute. I might have to strip points out of here because you see it's not upping. Shit. So I still have points. I stripped 11 points out of this piece of shit. Holy crap. Let me strip one more just to be safe. All right, so we got like 12 points left over. I guess we put 12 points in Iron Golem just because it'll increase their... what's Fire Golem doing for us? Just damage? Okay. 12 points left over. I think I put those all into Iron Golem. Like all 12 points in Iron Golem. How interesting. And I'm still like, yeah, okay. I'm still, yeah, level 98. We'll stop there. That's fine. Level 97, 15 points in Blood Golem. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm trying to theorycraft this while the video is going, just to, like, you know, so I don't have to make another video. Holy crap, this is fun. Having fun right now, if you don't know. If you can't tell. Right, so at this level of plus skills, so what you would do is you would fill up an entire inventory of, like, Summoner Grand Charms, all right? You would summon your 5, in this case, we had Dominion, so you'd summon your 6 Blood Golems, right? Just so we're clear. Then you would take out all your charms, and you would refill it up with plus curse charms, okay? And then you would go out to fight. And the goal here is to make our Blood Golems so insanely hard to kill, but at the same time taking a lot of hits, but not taking a lot of damage, right? Because we don't want them to die. Because if the Blood Golems die, we either have to resummon a really shitty one, or we got to go through the whole Grand Charm, you know, resetting up our skill crap again, blah, 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 blah. So we basically max out our summoning skills, summon up our army, and then once the army's summoned to do whatever the hell content that we're doing, running really hard maps, we don't have to resummon them again. They're just going to stay alive, despite the fact that we have no revives protecting them, and they're getting punched in the dick 6 ways from Sunday. What's going to help keep them alive is that even though we only have 1 point in weaken, you can see that it's a maxed out weaken, pretty much. It won't lower the target's defenses, damage. Well, that's not true. Holy crap, that's not true. Give me my fucking skill points back. What the fuck? I want them all back, homie. Alright, 1 point there. So we got 11 points left over here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my. Oh, what the fuck? It goes above and beyond? Hello? I did not know this. Come on, let's see here. Project Diablo 2, skills, fucking... Weaken? Where Weaken at? Here's Weaken, okay. Weaken, I thought you capped at 60, homie. Yeah, you do cap at 60. What's your synergy say? Curse Mastery, plus 1% damage reduction per 2 levels. Okay, that's why it hasn't capped out yet. Okay. So, per 2 levels, that means that it can gain 10%, so its cap is 70%, not 60%. Alright, let's go back over to the Theory Crafter. Yeah, so I can keep putting points into Weaken. So, what happens here is there's... The plus skills are so high that with a single skill point in Weaken, the lower target's defense aspect of Weaken is capped out. However, the actual cap on this thing, if we start putting in hard skills, is 70%. What are we at now? We're at 11? Yeah. Is 70%. So I can still gain percent enemy damage reduction by continuing to put skill points in here. Let me strip out 10 from here. So it was at 50% for 60%. So, like, worst case scenario. That should be maxed at 70%, but it doesn't want to. So, yeah. So it's like... I got 1 point left over. That's what's going on here. Okay. Put 1 point in the amplify damage. So, worst case scenario, what I could do is we actually put 20 fucking points into Weaken along with 20 points into Curse Mastery to make the Weaken a whopping minus 70. It's at 69% right now. Minus 70% damage from our enemies. So they're not killing these Blood Golems any fucking time soon. We still have the 20 points in Clay Golem, so we still have that 4,100 open wounds damage. We did have to sacrifice amplify damage. The alternative is a minus 50% damage reduction, and then we throw in like every remaining point we have into the amplify damage. That capped out, though, if I recall. Yeah, that capped out 60, 60, 60. So it capped out with 11 skill points. We got 9 left over. We throw the 9 in the Weaken because it's not capped. We'll stop at level 98. 63. That's not half bad. That's a good mix of the two. The problem here is that the difference between a minus 63% enemy damage and a minus 69% enemy damage is actually kind of huge. Whereas the difference between a minus 50% physical damage and a minus 60% physical damage isn't as huge. But anyways, worst case scenario, we'll be running around with a max Weaken, and then with all these plus skills, it'll cause the golems to basically survive. They're not going to die anytime soon, even though they're getting punched in the dick a hell of a lot. They're going to be healing like crazy off of life tap, and they're just going to do so much reflect damage with the Thorns Aura, it's going to be absolutely insane. On top of their actual melee damage. And then we're wearing Bramble Rune Word for the chest piece. That allows us to use the Dominion Rune Word, so now we either have an Iron Golem and 5 Blood Golems, or we have 6 Blood Golems running around out there. Yeah, it works. Okay, that's cool. So it looks like we're giving up on revives eventually. How tough are these guys exactly? Melee defense incredibly low, but we like that. They have close to 9,000 hit points. Okay, that's cool. They're going to have 9,000 hit points at level 55. And then, yeah, we're reducing enemy damage by, at worst case scenario, like 70%. They're not fucking dying. I can do their effective HP at that point. Lol. Let's see. Their EHP would be 9,000 base HP. But the enemy damage is being reduced by 30%. Fuck, how do I calculate that again? Let me take a drink of water. I've been talking a lot. 9,000. Huh. Well, we can do it at 33. So let's say we had this at minus 66%. Minus 50% would double this number. Minus 66% triples this number. Minus 70%, I do believe, would be like a 3.5 increase. So I would have to multiply this by like Yeah, we'd have to double it. Then we'd have to triple it. So it'd be like a 3.5% increase. So the effective HP of these golems would be closer to 30,000 than what it says on the tin of 9,000. And that's from basically the effect of Weaken. Weaken's lowering the enemy's damage, which is basically, like it's at minus 75%, we'd multiply that at 9,000 by 4 for their effective HP. So for the purposes of killing them, the enemy has to chew through 30,000 HP Blood Golems. For the purposes of them healing, life stolen per, yeah, they're going to life steal 20%. Their melee damage is, let's look at it here, it's going to be like close to 3,000 to 9,000 at level 55. 3,000 plus 9,000 equals, divided by 2 equals 6,000. All right, so every melee hit these Blood Golems do, they're pretty much going to heal themselves back to full life. And they're going to be a 30,000-ish hit point brick that the enemy has to somehow chew through without dying horrifically. Good luck. Yeah, so they're going to survive just fine. So I'll have to crunch the numbers on this a bit harder. The next video I make will probably be me crunching the numbers on this a bit harder and then looking into egregious detail as to what exactly the fuck is going on with Decrepify. So, yeah, I'll end the video here, and Deus Vult. How interesting.